Hi students, I'm Una.
And I'm Scott.
I'm a PTE teacher from the UK.
I'm also a PTE teacher from the UK.
And we've been helping students pass their exams for years.
And now we're excited to help you pass your exam too.
Welcome to the Swoosh English PTE podcast.
Let's get started.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another podcast here at Swoosh English. Today we are doing a little bit of a different podcast. It's not specifically on any kind of exam, but we're just talking about 5 great reasons to live in the UK.
This will be a fun podcast to talk about. So if you're obviously tuning in for the first day, my name is Scott and you are...
Una, yes. Sorry, didn't introduce us there.
Yeah, we didn't introduce ourselves, yeah. Okay, we're getting thinking about too much about the reasons to live in the United Kingdom.
We're getting excited.
Yeah.
So we'll try not to be biased, I guess.
Why would we be biased about this exactly?
Well, we live here.
Yeah, but where do we live?
We live in the north of Ireland.
We do, yes.
Yeah. So we'll try not to be biased. But yeah, we actually recently spent a lot of time traveling and we've just come back to live in the UK. So how are your feelings now that you've come back, after living in a foreign country for so long?
Well, it's really interesting because before I left to go traveling and also begin my teaching journey for the last number of years, I just had that desire to really go overseas and explore something else, a new culture, a new way of life, or a variety of different cultures too. And there was nothing wrong with the UK because there isn't anything specifically wrong with the UK. I think it was just me as a younger person needing to go out and spread my wings and flock away. But it's always when you live somewhere else in the world that you kind of realize that, the grass isn't always greener. And there are certain things that I missed about being here.
Definitely.
And now that I'm back, I really appreciate again. Is it the weather? Is weather one of the things?
It must be the weather.
It must be the weather. We have fantastic weather here.
No, I don't think it's the weather.
Anyway,
But
there's a lot of things that we're actually going to talk about today in today's podcast. I think that this country does really well, and maybe things that you might be interested in experiencing too, if you do happen to come over here. How about you regarding that?
Yeah, I feel exactly the same. I've come home with a new set of eyes, completely appreciative of where I come from and where I now live. So obviously traveling experience in other countries was great and I loved it as well, but I have come home with that new set of eyes and a newfound appreciation. All
right, so shall we start talking about it then?
Yes.
So maybe you are currently thinking about studying for the IELTS exam or the PTE examination and you can't decide exactly where you want to live and work. So we're going to actually go through a guide about what makes the United Kingdom such a great place to live and work. And it probably is a country that you are thinking about and considering to move and immigrate to, maybe for work reasons, immigration reasons, or even for study reasons as well.
Yes, definitely, especially giving the new news that came out from the UK government in September this year. So that was about the extension for students who are now allowed to stay in the UK for up to 2 years in order to live or look for work and secure work within the UK after they graduate from a UK university.
So that's a massive extension. We're actually going to dedicate a whole podcast episode to that too, because it is quite complicated.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in another podcast episode, but it's really good news.
So let's get into the reasons to live in the UK. First of all, I think it's good to define exactly what the UK is. Yes. Because it's not always easy.
It is not always easy. When I was traveling and teaching abroad, I can't tell you how many times I got asked this question. Teacher, what countries are in the UK, or is the UK a country? But what's the difference between Britain and the UK? And where does Ireland come into this?
Once again, we could dedicate an entire episode to talking about what is the United Kingdom. Just watch YouTube for all these things.
Yeah.
The United Kingdom is formally made up of the countries of England, Scotland and Wales, and the territory of Northern Ireland, where we're from.
Yes.
So that's the area. So Britain is actually, the island of Britain is England, Scotland, and Wales. Maybe you're looking to go there, come across the water to the other territory outside, according to sovereign law of Northern Ireland as well. Which means there are a lot of different cultures and cities and areas to choose from.
Definitely.
And of course, every one of them offers its own unique charm and prospects as well.
Yeah, so even if you do decide, okay, I'm going to go to the UK, well, that only narrows down one thing. Then you have to decide, okay, which part am I going to live in? And, what city am I going to live in? And as you said,
maybe not a city at all.
Wales, Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, they all bring unique cultures, traditions, and a completely different experience for you. So that's another decision in itself. But we'll just talk about the United Kingdom in general in this podcast.
We might throw in a few examples specific as well to certain areas or cities too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the 5 top reasons. Reason number 1 is, I think, the economy.
Okay.
The economy of the United Kingdom maybe has fluctuated as of recent, but then again, that was because of the global downturn and also some policies that have happened across the world.
Should I say that word as well?
What word?
Brexit.
Oh, no, don't say that. No, we're not going to mention that word in this podcast.
This is not going to be
Let's
about
not
Brexit.
talk about that word in the podcast. So no. Anyway, the United Kingdom is currently the 6th largest economy in the world. Some sources say 5th, some say 6th. It depends, obviously, on what economic institution you get your information from. Regardless of that, it's a very powerful and strongly performing economy, which I think is quite remarkable given that the United Kingdom isn't really a large country by population means if you compare it to like other massive economies such as China, United States, Germany, even Japan. The population of all those countries exceeds the UK by a lot. The UK's population is only 66 million people.
Yeah, about 66 million.
And 1.5 million of those people live in where we come from. Tiny, rural little country.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very strong economy. But what does that exactly mean for jobs? What do you think that means for jobs?
So, of course, if the economy is booming, well then jobs. There's lots of jobs. Jobs are booming. Okay, so of course that is news to the ears of any prospective students or people who want to come and live in the UK. So hopefully you'll be able to secure yourself a job in whichever field that you require. So of course there are lots of, if we look at the bigger cities, of course there's going to be more jobs. For example, London, Glasgow, and a lot of big global companies are situated in these cities.
Oh yeah, pretty much every single large global company. You can think of digital communications. You can think of engineering, fashion. You can think of academics, media. And pretty much all of these large companies have a base certainly in London as well. London being a massive economic powerhouse, one of the big major capital cities of the world. But also in the other large regional cities such as Birmingham, Manchester, Glasgow as well.
Yes,
even where we come from, Belfast is up and coming as well. Yeah.
Definitely. Belfast is up and coming,
So pretty much every single sector you can think about has work. The UK's economy is primarily based on the services sector, so 80% of services job, which encompasses a lot of jobs that you want. If you want to offer a service to someone for a fee, you can either start up as an entrepreneur or freelance, or even start another job as well.
Cities like London, Manchester, and as you said, Glasgow, even Edinburgh. Edinburgh is a really big startup.
It is, and also incredibly beautiful as well.
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, startups are huge. There's lots of working space and business places that you can get if you were looking to start a company.
So there definitely is an entrepreneurship attitude throughout the United Kingdom in terms of entrepreneurship and startup companies. If you have an idea, you can make it work with government assistance as well. So, and also as well, we have to mention how we'll go into a bit more about this in the healthcare section as well, but the NHS is a massive employer too.
Yes.
Being, there's always a shortage for demand for like doctors, nurses, pharmacists, care assistants, etc.
It's on the news constantly. Yes, that's shortage.
But we'll go into more detail about the NHS very soon. So the economy is very powerful. There are a lot of jobs coming, a lot of scope for you to start up your own work as well. So the sky's the limit for where you want to move and what jobs you want to get if you bring in the right skills, which I'm sure you will.
Definitely.
Let's now talk about education.
Yeah, so a lot of the people listening to this podcast are potentially prospective students. So they want to come into the UK in order to secure a place at a university and further their education in the UK. And of course, the UK has a reputation for being one of the countries in the world that really does provide the best education.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people who I've taught overseas, whether it's in Vietnam, China, or even international students in Australia as well, they've always talked about going to the UK for the education there, just given the reputation of the universities that the UK has. I mean, you think of obviously the world's top universities. You can't obviously not think of Cambridge and Oxford, but also the United Kingdom has a good range of the top universities in the world in the top 10. You have St Andrews in Edinburgh. You have Imperial College London in London. You have the London School of Economics as well. And you have University College London as well. So most of the universities are focused in the Greater London area, given its size. But there are other renowned universities outside as well, especially St Andrews in Edinburgh as well in Scotland.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big student city there as well.
Now, while we didn't go to those universities, we still went to pretty good universities. Una actually was educated in Ireland, in Dublin,
in the south,
in Trinity College
Dublin.
And then you also went to Queen's University
in Belfast. Yeah, there's a lot of foreign students at Queen's University in Belfast.
Yeah.
Definitely. So it's another one to look into. So you can get really top-notch education within the UK, and of course, lots of great student experience within the cities as well, with lots of different opportunities and things on offer for you.
Well, that's the best thing as well about just the university life in the United Kingdom and Ireland as well, where we're from, it's so much fun. There's so many opportunities. There's so many clubs to join. So much crack that you can have, so to say.
Yes, definitely. Extra-curricular societies and things like that are a big part of the student culture. So, coming to the UK for your education is definitely a really good choice. Yeah. Okay, so what about then our next topic? So about healthcare.
Well, we touched upon that already, just how important the NHS is, according to the United Kingdom. So obviously the NHS has been around for a long, long time and is probably one of the greatest healthcare experiments that the world has ever seen. Following the Second World War, it was set up as free public taxpayer-funded healthcare. And not only is it free for people who live or resident in the country, as well as on certain visas, but also it's of really, really good quality as well. Now, of course, you may see some news that the NHS is under strain. Well, of course it will be, because every healthcare provider in the world obviously has to deal with growing populations as well as increased sickness that might come around. Varying diseases that come with most lifestyles. But importantly, it is a very, very, very successful organization, and it requires a lot of workers and professionals to come overseas and fill in the many vacant spots that there might be. Simply, the organization is so massive that it cannot hope to fulfill all of the employment demands from native workers only. So it is a massive employer.
Huge. So for lots of nurses, doctors, people within all different areas of the medical system, you can come and look for jobs within the NHS. But also just in relation to what it provides for students who are coming over here to live. So not only do obviously national people within the UK have free education, but also any legal permanent residents now living in the UK will have access to free healthcare, which is the same as that which is offered to residents. Also, it's worth noting that students on a Tier 4 visa coming to the UK for 6 months or longer can also avail of this free healthcare through the payment of an immigration health surcharge, which you pay when you apply for your with your application fee for your visa.
And I believe that amount is £300 that you pay. So basically
£300 for the year.
£300 for the year, and you can get as much healthcare with that, just paying that surcharge.
Yeah, so this includes doctor surgery appointments. The doctor is often referred to as the GP here in the UK.
The general practitioner. Yeah. So you don't go to, maybe in your country you're used to going to hospital to get general care, but here there's actually a general practitioner's office that you go into instead.
Yeah. And then also that does involve if you need an appointment at the hospital or healthcare centre. But you may need to pay, aside from that, fees for dental care, for example.
Yes.
Or optical treatment. Or any...
Also for any optical care I would get, for example, when we go to the dentist, we have to pay a small surcharge. Yeah. That's not covered. Now, of course, your fees may be on top of that, as well as for my glasses as well. For my yearly optician's appointment, I have to pay for that. Yes. But anything else will be covered for you.
Perhaps also prescriptions. So any prescriptions that you need to get from the pharmacy, you may need to pay for those.
That seems to constantly change as well. Yeah. Free prescriptions are not free prescriptions as
well.
But
there are exceptions to for particularly expensive discretionary treatments. But of course, you can really look into that yourself if you want to know more information about what will be covered when you come on a student visa or whatever visa you're coming on. Look into that in more detail and get the information on it.
But £300 for all of that stuff as part of the NHS is quite the bargain, I must say. Yeah, yes. It'll be a lot more expensive otherwise if you're paying for it, and it is a great service as well.
Yeah.
All right, that's the NHS covered. It's obviously good to be part of that while you're here, and it's also a massive employer as well. Let's get down to the fun stuff about living here now.
Okay,
let's talk about the geography.
Ooh, geography is my strong suit.
It's very, very strong. Okay.
Not.
So,
but yeah.
Can I ask you a question for fun? Only for fun. Where is the United Kingdom located in relation to Europe?
It's very close, Scott.
That's a great answer.
It's very close to Europe.
So
basically, we are able to travel to many European destinations in a very short space of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so of course, it depends where you are located, but you can get, if you're located in England, you can get the Interrail all the way to many different countries within Europe.
So the United Kingdom obviously isn't located geographically to Europe, but it is well connected. So you can hop on a train across the Channel Tunnel, which is the underwater tunnel underneath the Channel Sea, linking England to the rest of mainland Europe via France. You can easily take a train across to the mainland, and then, as Una said, purchase an Interrail ticket and travel around by train throughout the entire of Europe for a very, very decent price.
Yeah, especially as a student, you can get really cheap Interrail tickets all throughout Europe. So yeah, it's really exciting. So no matter where you are located, you have access, think about, like, we recently lived in Australia, and I just find it crazy how if you live in Perth, there's like nowhere close.
You are 5 hours flying away from any nearby major city, no matter where it is, whether it's in Australia or whether it's in Asia, for example. Makes it seem so isolated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
It's crazy, whereas we just feel so close, to so many places. So we are really lucky, and we don't take that for granted in relation to where we live.
So you can easily travel around by train. Spend a long traveling trip, seeing all of the major destinations that Europe has to offer, the amount of cultures and countries as well. You might be eating tapas in Barcelona one day, and then drinking beer in a beer hall in Munich, Germany, and then flying down or traveling down to the peninsula of Italy and eating delicious olives, etc.
Okay, now I need to book a holiday. Like, you've really put me in the mindset. Now I'm like, okay, I need to go somewhere.
There's so much for you to see as well. And of course, Ireland is also a very short flight away. There's no, or else a ferry away as well. And of course, you can come over and see everything that we have to offer as well as part of this island.
Yeah. So of course, if there's also 24 commercial airports that you can fly if you really want to go further afield, and lots of different flights going out every day to all countries all over the world.
Yeah.
And also, even if you just want to stay within the UK and you don't want to go and experience Europe, well, there's so much for you to see here as well.
There's plenty to see. I mean,
beautiful countryside, sea, coastal views, coastal towns for you to explore.
Being an island as well, and even an island isn't that big. You're only a few hours drive away to a coastal view, so you can head down to the south of England and see the Jurassic coastline all the way up to the north of Scotland and hike the Highlands of Scotland.
Wouldn't that be amazing? We haven't done that either.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's so much to experience, and as we said at the beginning, each area brings its own unique set of customs and traditions, different music, different food to eat. So you could have a different experience every month or every week or whatever, how often you wanted to go on holiday.
Yeah. So we now actually touch on the cultural aspect for our final point as well.
Yeah, let's look at that.
Where can we start talking about culture?
So I think London, is the center. It's the capital city, of course, and there's a huge variety of culture on offer there. And even if you want to explore other cultures, it's possible in London. There's 270 nationalities living in London and over 300 languages. So it's pretty crazy.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah,
definitely. And this diversity, of course, is only set to grow, as we said, especially with the extension of the visa. There's going to be more and more nationalities coming to live in the UK, and changing the whole dynamic, really.
Yeah, basically, every large city in the United Kingdom is pretty cosmopolitan, especially London. I mean, you could easily find someone that speaks your language or is from the same country as you, no matter how obscure you are in that massive. The world's original cosmopolitan city was London.
We recently visited London, didn't we? Yeah. And it was just... even just being there again, it was amazing, wasn't it? You could just find anything you wanted.
Anything you want. The streets are just they're just amazing to explore. The amount of cultures you see, the people you can see, the history. Yeah. Oh, it's so amazing, yeah. But also,
and can we just say the food?
The food. Oh,
yes. The food was amazing. You can just get anything you want. Obviously any cuisine from throughout the world, and of course, good old British food as well if you want that. Pies are very popular.
They are very popular. That's despite, obviously, the myth that it might suck British food. But, of course, British food has been made popular by immigrants coming from all over the world and taking maybe a local twist on a classic British food type. But, of course, it's important as well. So, a long diversity of history, culture, nationalities, as well as music as well. The music scene and the art scene is also very, very big here.
Definitely.
It's
a big part of people's social activity to go and see a gig or to
Go to a
a concert. Yeah, so music is huge here. The Beatles, one of the world's greatest bands, came from the UK.
Came from London as well,
Yeah.
and of course,
So,
probably the most influential.
Liverpool?
Liverpool,
Founded
sorry.
in Liverpool.
That's right. Sorry, excuse me. Yes, they were founded in Liverpool, and of course, they're probably arguably the world's most popular live band ever. So they have a massive cultural legacy on the music scene in the country as well. So it's very important. All right.
And you can, of course, go and see theatre as well. There's a lot in the West End in London. You can go and see many musicals and plays. And also there's so many museums to explore in your free time.
And what's the most important thing about that? The majority of them are free
a
as
lot
well.
of museums in the UK are free as well for visitors. So it is, or in England, it's amazing.
And there are various museums and galleries as well, which will encompass so many different types, whether they're national level or they're more local as well. They're very popular. And we want to emphasize as well, this isn't just specific to London. You will get that in most of the major cities and even the smaller towns and cities as well, which of course are worth exploring.
There's always lots to explore in your free time or in your playtime, definitely.
Yeah. I like to think as well that we're talking about food as well. Food is highly influential as well. And of course, there's a massive Chinese and Indian cuisine range that you might come in this country. And I love Chinese food and especially Indian food as well. So you obviously find a curry house that's nearby as well, given obviously India's close economic relations with Britain today. Many Indians are here, many Indian cultures and populations are here too. So you will get a lot of variety.
British just love
we love a curry.
Indian food.
Yeah, they love a curry, don't they? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that pretty much sums up just how much you can actually do if you decide to live here and emigrate here.
Yeah.
So, of course, what are you waiting for? If you're planning to do your PTE and IELTS test in order to study or live here, then please consider the United Kingdom for all the things that it has to offer. We don't think that you are making a bad choice regarding that.
Definitely not. You'll be happy here.
All right, so that concludes our podcast with Swoosh English today for living in the United Kingdom. Remember, if you are doing any PTE, IELTS, or OET training, then please consider us at www.swooshenglish.com in order for us to fulfill your educational needs.
Thanks for joining us today, guys. See you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you struggling with your PTE exam preparation? Are you unsure how to get that score of 65, 79, or even 90? Let us help you get there. Please go to pte.swooshenglish.com and enter discount code PTE10 in order to receive 10% discount on any course.